A two-day Ocean Symposium with strategic partners. There are two niche ocean economy focus areas pertaining to the Western Indian Ocean and Southern Oceans, each of which will be discussed in parallel sessions over 2 days. One focus is offshore aquaculture in severe offshore conditions. The other focus is medium-scale and specialised vessel construction and ship repair. And for more on this, we crossed our reporter Janine Lee.
Thank you so much. And if you just think about it, South Africa has over 3,000 kilometers of coastline. We boast 8 commercial ports. So it makes sense that this should be a reason to grow the economy, the blue economy, and it's a great way for job creation. And here in Nelson Mandela Bay at the university, the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University, there is a whole section for ocean science. And I have the VC with me from the university, Professor Derek Schwartz. The centre at the university, it's doing great things. Just share with us what sort of input it has, Professor, into Operation Phakisa.
Yeah, we bought up the new campus a year ago, and we're busy retooling that so that we build capabilities that can support some of the sectors that have been identified in Operation Phakisa, one of which is, of course, marine transportation and manufacturing, which is about boat building and repairs and maintenance. As you know, there are thousands of vessels passing along our coast. And if we can set up our coastal infrastructure to be able to take a segment or section of that economy, that I think could create new jobs and also build new enterprises on the shore to support the shipping industry. And the focus of today's symposium is to focus on what ecosystem do you need to create in order to boot up and to support an emerging ship repair and ship maintenance and ship building industry at a local level. So the focus is really at a city level. And the second function of the campus is to look at aquaculture. How do we make sure we shift the balance of revenue from what we extract from wild fishing to also looking at cultivating fishing and marine protein, so that we can give future generations of artisanal fishing communities a chance to eke a living out of the oceans without having to take primary stock in a way that can harm the environment. And so the university campus is really set up to use the best of research and innovation to stimulate those sectors that prove themselves with possibilities for economic growth.
Professor, but what skills basis as South Africa do we have to do all this? Are we lacking or are we competitive?
Look, we're woefully uncompetitive in the ship building repair, oil rig repair. That's a completely new field that we have to look into as well. And skills level along the entire spectrum, from high level to intermediate to artisanal skills, technical skills. The country has not really been good about that. But what we do have is the experience of existing industries in the motor car automobile industry in Port Elizabeth, for example. We have grown over 40 years an engineering and technical capability that can be then built on and diversified to support the new ocean-based industries as well. So it's not that you completely build from afresh, de novo. You actually harness an existing capability like the Norwegians have done and the Finnish have done some decades ago as well.
Professor, just briefly, when we think oceans economy and Operation Phakisa, we seem to think of the ocean, but it's not necessary. We have an aquaculture, very successful one, aquaculture project in Graaff-Reinet. This is not limited only to coastal areas, is it?
No, of course, yeah. I mean, aquaculture and mariculture, for that matter, refer to broadly inland or terrestrial-based fish farming aquaculture systems, and of course also the ocean-based, which is the focus of this symposium as well. But South Africa has quite a long history, at least for the last 30-40 years, in small scale and medium scale fish farming in our estuaries, in rivers, and of course in lakes on the inland as well. And the task is, how do you build on that expertise to boot up and to expand that in an economically and environmentally sustainable manner? That is, to do that booting up and to expansion, you need a massive infusion of new skills, of the best R&D that you have, the best science and technology that you have to harness to make sure that we do not harm the environment as we create a set of industries.
Professor, we'll have to leave it there. And I know, Professor, he's very passionate about his Norwegian salmon, and South Africa is liaising very closely with Norway and Finland on how to grow the blue economy. And I think the Professor is hoping that one day he's not going to have to import his fish. It will be grown perhaps right here somewhere in South Africa. From us here, Nelson Mandela Bay, back to you in the studio.